Welcome to Therapy Unveiled, episode 8. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not, go to YouTube and subscribe to Speak Life Transformation. Also, follow me on Instagram at speaklife_SLT and like my Facebook page at Living Speak Life. So let's dive right on in. Today, we're going to be talking about sensitive spots. One type of therapeutic method that I often use in couples therapy is emotional focused therapy, EFT. And EFT focuses on helping individuals create attachment bonds, secure attachment bonds within their relationships. And so sensitive spots help recognize why you're responding emotionally to certain situations, so then you can begin to learn how to regulate those emotions, which then can lead to secure attachments. So recently I've been having my couples in couples therapy identify what their sensitive spots are. Because when you're able to identify your sensitive spots, you're able to recognize why. Why am I reacting to my partner this way? Why when my partner says a certain word or, his or her body responds in a certain way, I immediately become distressed emotionally or immediately lash out? Once you're able to recognize that why and understand that why, then as a couple, they can begin to figure out the how. Okay, how can we move forward with this? How can we regulate our emotions so that our responses are ones that helps us resolve these issues instead of causing more conflict? And this also can be done individually and within families as well. So again, what is a sensitive spot? A sensitive spot is a past situation that has caused some type of emotional distress. And within that situation, there are different aspects that unconsciously you have taken with you to remind yourself of when these aspects happen, there is some type of emotional threat that I got to protect myself from. And then before you know it, you're responding in a way to protect yourself. So you might respond in an angry way. You might blow up. You might have different outbursts. You might withdraw to protect yourself from those emotional experiences that you had in the past with that situation. So the sensitive spot could be, you might be sensitive to a specific tone of voice. You might be sensitive to certain types of body language. You might be sensitive to certain words or phrases. And it's all because of this past situation that caused emotional distress, and your brain is just helping protect you from that past situation. But the issue is you're now handling the present situation as if it's the past situation. And that's why it's so important to understand what your sensitive spots are, so you can begin to detach the two, resolve this past situation so that you don't continue to handle present situations as if it's the past. So one scenario that I give my clients to help them really understand more of how do I figure out what my sensitive spots are is a scenario about Joy. Joy is a full-time employee. She is a mother of 2 and she's married. And her husband has decided to stay at home to care for the kids. So she comes home and, before she comes home, her and her husband have decided that they are going to, as a family, eat at the table every night. And so Joy comes home and she witnesses her kids watching TV while eating dinner. And she just goes off. And so the question is, what was Joy's sensitive spot? What caused her to react that way? Because the outside viewer might say, well, why did she get so angry? Like, why did it lead to that response? Well, let's think about it. Maybe Joy, as a child, was put in front of the TV all the time, and her parents didn't really interact with her. And so it caused her to feel abandoned and alone. And she vowed, whenever I have kids, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to throw them in front of the TV and make them feel like they're not loved or they're not wanted or feel ignored or abandoned. Or maybe Joy has been in past relationships where she has had agreements with our past partners or friends or coworkers, and they fell through and didn't stand by what they said they were going to do. And she felt betrayed by them or rejected. And she was like, never again. Next time someone tries to do that, not letting that happen again, right? And so there's certain messaging that has been created by Joy because of these situations. And so now when it happens in the present, she immediately responds because, again, remember, never again, never am I going to let my kids sit in front of the TV where they're going to feel abandoned and alone, or never again am I going to just let somebody betray me that way or fall for that again where someone lies about doing something they said they're going to do. And so that leads to immediate reaction to protect herself from those feelings of betrayal, abandonment, and loneliness. And so when we're thinking about our own sensitive spots, think about that. What type of reactions or situations cause you to feel like you got to protect yourself emotionally? Where you find yourself becoming easily offended, or you find yourself easily feel like you need to defend yourself or protect yourself? Because that's probably a sensitive spot. And these are some steps you can take to help you recognize, well, what are your sensitive spots? I mentioned some of these emotions already, but you want to think about these 5 specific emotions and your experience with these emotions. They are rejection, loneliness, worthlessness, abandonment, and betrayal. And so take the time to think about if you've ever experienced any of those emotions. And if so, then think about when. What parts of your life did you experience rejection, for example? Was it in grade school, middle school, high school, college, adulthood? Maybe all, maybe 1 or 2. But think about each one of those: rejection, loneliness, abandonment, worthlessness, and betrayal. Have you ever experienced those? And if so, what was that experience? And then think about, how does this connect to how you currently respond? So for example, when I recently did this with one of my couples, my one client was telling me about her experience with abandonment within her family. And hearing her story, her experience, her partner immediately was like, oh, I get it now. That's why you're so afraid that I'm going to leave you. And so because he was able to hear her story, because she was able to make the connection of abandonment, she also was like, yeah, that's why I'm often afraid that you're going to leave me, which also connected feelings of rejection too. She was able to make the connection of abandonment and rejection to that. And so because they were able to make those connections, he was able to understand more about her why. She was able to understand more about her why. And then we were able to talk more about the how. How can we start regulating these emotions so that this past experience in your childhood isn't impacting how you're responding to your partner? And so I challenge you to take this step to think about, what are your sensitive spots? When or have you ever experienced any of these emotions? And how does it connect to your present responses? And so again, if you like what was being discussed, like this video, share it, comment below your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to Speak Life Transformation and follow me at SpeakLife_SLT on Instagram and at Living Speak Life on Facebook. And so until I see you guys again, make sure you be bold, speak life, and be safe.